and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 276. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one, the only, I can't pronounce your last name. I even looked on Twitter and was like, yo, how the hell do you pronounce that? It's my man Jake from Dead Good. How do you, when you, as I was about to say, let's start this off like this, yeah?
Yeah.
How do you describe who you are and what you do? It's weird. So okay, I just recorded a 30-minute episode, right? Echo, it's terrible. And then I get a DM from you saying I'll be on, okay? Yeah. And then I'm like, bro, I've hit the big goose here. I've got the main man. Like, what? How does that work? How does all this gold just fall on my lap like this? Like, when somebody asks you who you are, what you do, who are you? What do you do? Like,
I don't know. I asked myself that. Well, my name is Jake Kulkowski, and
wait, how'd you say that second name? How'd you say that?
It's Kulkowski. Yeah. It's like a mid to low level mafia, not a boss, just a goon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. I sound like a and I stay in my attic here in Wales. Yeah, it's that little country next to England for the international fans that don't know or care about my country. And I don't know. Well, I would say I'm multifaceted, but I don't want to get the Nerd Council to lawsuit me, so I'm not going to use that word.
Yeah.
So I'll say this. By day, I work in influencer relations, PR.
Yeah.
Lots of different companies. Yeah. THQ, Nordic, Sega, Larian Studios, and whatnot.
Yeah.
But by night, really, I just play a lot of video games. I have a podcast with my friends called Special Moves, and I'm also launching a new podcast next month by myself, actually. So that's what I do. Yeah.
So we sort of come in contact with each other through other people, and obviously doing what I do, I work with PR people. You're a PR person. That's how it works, right? But obviously we have a friend in common, being Sun.
Oh yeah.
That's like, and then I remember I hit you up like, hey, can you take a meeting? And you were like, yep, this is the last meeting I'm taking. That's it. It's done. I'm done for the day. And we just sat down, we had a chat, and it was one of the most genuine chats that I've had in the industry, which is really nice. And then we exchanged your phone numbers. I remember we were just talking. I remember you texting me being an idiot when I went in hospital. So I just ignored that one. I was just like, nope, not in the mood for that crap right now. But dude, like,
just checking you're still alive. Yeah, that's it.
I was alive. And then you asked me for a PS5 like every other idiot out there. So you know how it is.
I actually already had one. I was kind of hoping we'd talk about that. But I had one. I was like, come on. But and that's it. And that's how you do it. You got to text people jokes when they're in hospital. If anyone wants PR tips, it's always that.
Is that what it is? Yeah, texting people while they're in hospital. Okay,
yeah,
I respect.
That's the secret.
You have very unorthodox methods, because I love your Twitter.
Yeah.
I love your Twitter. Sometimes you come out with some gold, some absolute gold. I'm just like, can he say that? Can he do that? Is that He can.
I think what it is nobody knows what they're doing in life.
Yeah.
And I think when you pretend you know what you're doing, sometimes you can look a bit silly. But that I don't know how I got to do my job. I'm very thankful, and I guess not knowing what I do or how I do it keeps me in check.
Yeah.
You know, I never feel comfortable. I never feel like I fit in with everyone else who works in PR. Very well spoken. They got GCSEs and probably better things than that. I don't have any of that.
Yeah.
So I have to literally just test my mettle every day by talking to people. And so I think that does keep me in check. Unorthodox is great. You make me sound like Deontay Wilder or something when you're saying that. you know,
you're right here coming out with a southpaw stance for boxing. No, but it is. I think that's why I instantly connected with you, which was like we just sat down and it instantly felt like we knew each other for 10 years. To me, anyway. It was like, okay, awesome. This is my guy. This is my bro. I can't wait for us to get to events and actually hug when COVID isn't trying to destroy us all, you know? One day.
Yes.
One day.
Absolutely.
For those who don't know, go on. You're fine. Go on.
I was going to say we're all in it together, and that's the only thing at the moment about this that's keeping it, real with everybody. Everyone listening, everybody listening who's a content creator, just a regular listener. We all know that feeling of wanting to get out and see everybody again, and have a drink, have a hug, and all that. And I'm so excited to get get it cracking, like hopefully this year or something like that. So
hopefully, fingers crossed. Who knows? Who knows? My Xbox and Me is a weekly Xbox podcast. You can get over on youtube.com/myxboxandme, and of course all podcast services: Spotify, Apple, Google. If you want it early, head over to patreon.com/mcfixer, where we have a plethora I use a big word to try and be fancy. Sometimes I do that. I use a plethora of new tiers for you all to go and check out. The goal is to get to 100 patron supporters by the end of the year. We're currently sitting at about 57. So if you are someone who has the means, your job is stable, you are doing okay, send some change your boy's way, please. It helps the lights get on, get more guests on, helps the production value get built that much better. So if you can, please do.
Yeah.
We can do what's been in our box because, like I say, beforehand I just did a Q&A, but we can jump into what's been in our box, which is what we've been playing. So what have you been playing?
Do you want the truth answer? Yeah,
I want the truth.
I've been dipping into the sort of backlog over Christmas. That's my Christmas tradition, you know. With the podcast that I do in the daytime and I'm working in PR, I'm always playing the new stuff, and I feel like a lot of that leaves a lot of unfinished business.
Yep.
Sometimes I'm juggling multiple projects and I don't get to really get stuck into games that I otherwise liked, you know. And so I actually got a new Xbox for Christmas. My wife got me a series. So I wanted the little bite-sized, little portable one. So I went for the Series S because I do travel a lot with work when I'm allowed out to play, and it could fit into my backpack quite easily. Do you know what I mean? Like rather than having to buy another plane seat like the PS5 or something like that. So with this, and the thing is as well, I love Game Pass. I think it's like the best thing ever, and I'm a big indie fan. Xbox got me into indie games with the Xbox Arcade. I didn't know anything about indie games until that. And I've always, so for some reason, there's always in my heart that connection of like indie games and Xbox.
Okay, interesting.
So I'm always playing, like, you know, because a lot of people will play like the big powerhouses and that over the Christmas break. Yeah, right. So I've been playing some unorthodox guy. You know, I've been playing I played Carrion.
Yeah,
a game by Devolver Digital where you play as like a mutant. I played Katana Zero.
Yeah,
a game where you play yeah, right. So I actually played it before on PC, but I wanted to dip back into it because I heard that there was a different ending. And I started Dragon Age Origins, which is I think that's actually part of like EA
Play, and it's into Game Pass, and you've got all of that.
Right. So I did that and a bit of Battlefield 5 actually. So that's what I've been playing. Really.
So
anything that take your interest?
No, not really. Honestly, I'm addicted to NBA 2K at the moment. Like, I've finally finished my season. So for those who listen to the podcast, they are extremely bored of hearing me talk about the game. So I don't bother anymore. But until this moment, because finally finished my season, won the playoffs, won Rookie of the Year, run MVP. I got it all. I done it all. So then I signed a new contract with the Lakers. They traded Anthony Davis. Some people are not going to have a clue what I'm talking about. And that's okay, because I'm not playing it anymore. Because I'm finished. I'm done. I finished my season. I did it. I completed it. I completed it. It's done. I'll go on now. I'll play in the park. I'll play against friends. But I'm that career mode. I completed it. I won the league. I'm done. I'm done out here.
Retired at the top.
I'm MVP in my rookie year. I got MVP. I'm the best. There's no one better than me.
So what's next if it's not NBA?
So now I'm going on to Assassin's Creed. So I missed Assassin's Creed came out and then I went into hospital, didn't I? So I played that. I finished Immortal Phoenix Rising, which I absolutely loved. I can't believe that game wasn't even on my radar. And then obviously UB hit me up, was like, oh, do you want to check this out? And I thought, yeah, I'll check it out. It's going to be one of those games. You get it, play it for 3 hours on stream. You go, guys, this isn't for me, unfortunately. And then you bounce. But it didn't, because it's that I'm not a Breath of the Wild guy. I didn't like Breath of the Wild at all. It just didn't do it for me. So it was that mixture between Assassin's Creed and Breath of the Wild. And I'm like, okay, well, let me try this. Let me play this. Let's see what happens, right? And I started playing. I just fell in love with the character and the world and exploring and the stamina meter and wanting to. It just everything came together perfectly, and it was like the perfect game to play outside of hospital. Because for some reason, once I came out of hospital, my stomach wouldn't stop vibrating. So I'd play Call of Duty, and I'm like, I can't do this. My stomach is killing me after this. But Phoenix Immortal Rising was just perfect, the perfect game for me to just sit down, relax, and play. And then, yeah, I finished that, thankfully. So we'll see where that ends.
Yeah, well, it's a game that kind of, I don't know, it's almost like an underdog. I know
I
it's
think so.
Ubisoft, so there's millions and millions, but I don't think anyone would expected much from it still. Like, and it came at that time where it was like the news was just dominated by, right, exactly. So, and people were still combing through. Like a lot of the journalists got all the new, both the Xbox and PlayStation, and there's a lot of first parties for PlayStation that were exclusive, and then the Xbox.
Am I on that list now? Because you said a lot. I got both. Am I one of the special kids now? I feel weird.
Illuminati.
Oh,
yeah.
No. Whoa. Let's not talk about it. Yeah, let's not talk about it. I'm not allowed to talk about it. No, but yeah, it's one of those weird ones where, yeah, you're right. Everything. It was stressful. I know it's like, oh, woe is me, I had too much to play, or woe is me, I had too much to do. But from a job point of view, it was like, here's your Xbox and everything that we're publishing and working with. Here's a PlayStation and everything that we're working with. And then you're like, I'm one person. How the hell do I cover all of this?
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, you're super aware that everyone else on the internet is talking about it. So you don't want to be the guy that's played the first hour of 10 games.
Yeah.
You want to, it'd be better to be the guy that's done the whole game of one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Immortals, I guess, so that means that people make a priority list. And I think this game just got pushed down.
It did. Everybody I spoke to was like, when it comes on sale, when it comes on sale, when it comes on sale, I'm getting it. And it went on sale like a week afterwards, 2 weeks afterwards, down to $30. And everyone was like, is it worth it? Is it worth it? I'm like, I promise you it's worth it. Like, it's worth playing.
Yeah, it's a really good, like, palette cleanser, isn't it? From the very intense, very serious, like, stuff. Like, it's really bright and colorful. And yeah, like, I only got to play it for a bit. I was like, just like what I just mentioned then, like, back to back games, and that just kind of got like pushed aside. But what I played, it was nice. And this sounds like an insult, but it's not. It felt like a game with like the sensibilities of like the Xbox 360 days.
I agree.
I don't know how to really explain that.
It was simple. It's simple to manage. It is. This is how you play the game, and the mechanics do not change all the way through the game. And that's literally something that I wanted, which is, it's easy on the eyes, it's easy on the brain. It's kind of like junk food, but it's better than junk food for you. It feels better than that, to be honest with you. Where I jumped on Cyberpunk a couple of times and was just like, this isn't it for me. Like, this isn't it for me. I'd rather go play Phoenix Immortal Rising. So went and jumped and played on that, to be honest. But yeah, what are you looking forward to in Game Pass then? Now you're in the Xbox ecosystem. You've got your S. Is there anything that sticks out in your brain that you're looking forward to? I know it's a hard question. Medium's coming out this month.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Yeah. Like, that's got like psychological horror elements and all that to it, hasn't it? And that is like my big thing. Yeah, like a lot of my favorite games and that sort of thing. Silent Hill 2 and whatever. So stuff like that. But the truth be told, like I just look at the list of games that are on there already, and it's just like, I need more time in the day. The EA thing has kind of opened my eyes. Like, do you know what the best game I played last year, 2020, was Dead Space 1, right? Which was so I feel like I've got catching up to do, and I think that with Dragon Age being on there, like all three of them, there's a new one on the way, so I feel like that's the right thing to do. And I downloaded Final Fantasy 8 as well, which is on there because they got all the
7, 8, 9, all of them are on there. 15.
The ones that really, like, people my age, that was, if you were old enough to remember that era of Final Fantasy, a lot of people think that's the best, right? So although saying that, it's a big debate. So,
hey, remake is my game of the year, which is crazy to say on the Xbox podcast. I know it's not there yet, but that's my game of the year by miles. And I keep saying to people, I can't wait for the Xbox. Can't wait for people listening who just have an Xbox to get to play that game. Like, it's gonna be wild for them.
Yeah, no, totally. It's something really special, and just to see everything brought up. So with that though, I remembered how much I loved Final Fantasy 7, and I know that Final Fantasy 8's on there, and that's the one that kind of slips through the cracks. So I'm looking forward to getting on that. But Medium, definitely. Like, I don't think there's anything actually out this month that's not that.
Medium. You've got Medium. You've got what's the Scott Pilgrim game comes out this month as well. I think that's about it. There's nothing. I was looking earlier because I was like, oh, what am I going to be streaming? Like, what's going to be coming through the inbox this year? And I was like, oh, or what do I need to reach out for? I was like, oh, there's not much really this year. And then like even next month, I'm looking forward to a few bits and bobs, but nothing big and crazy in the January window this year, which is not a bad thing because there's a lot of games I missed. So I can go back and play Assassin's Creed. I can go back and play and finish, maybe try and finish Cyberpunk once I get a better patch. A few other games like that I just want to go to and that really run through, which January, February should allow. So
year ahead. Yeah, exactly. Because like as we go on in the year, there's like a bunch of like games that like I guess the third party that I'm really looking forward to. But like my heart is really on some of the titles probably in the next couple of years. Like Fable is probably my favorite game, if not Silent Hill 2. It's Fable. So that new Fable and what's the new Obsidian game called? It's got like some like I don't know,
Everwild,
like some sort of like
it's
Everwild's like Disavowed or something.
Everwild's rare. See, the thing is
that
with Xbox
good,
now.
I
don't know about that one. I'm in this weird place with Everwild where they haven't showed me enough, and for me to really be like, okay, this looks good. So the art style they keep showing, I'm like, I don't know. See, I don't know.
It's like that. It's like Princess Mononoke, the Studio Ghibli or Ghibli film. Like, it's like that's like your starter pack anime film. By the way, I'm not into this anime stuff, right? But Studio Ghibli and that I've seen, and it looks like that. But that game by Obsidian, it looks like it's so people that did Pillars of Eternity and Obsidian back in the day. They made Fallout New Vegas. I think it's called. Is it called like Disavowed or something?
I think Avowed. Avowed. Right, yeah, Avowed. You're right. Yeah, look, I remember them shouting it. I remember again. RPGs are one of those games that I dip in and out of. I'll play ones that really grab hold of me, but it needs to do a really good job at the start to get me. Otherwise, I just look at the hours and it scares me.
You know what? Yeah, with RPGs, to me, RPGs are like jazz. Yeah, the better they are, the more boring they are to people who aren't into it. Innit?
Yeah.
It's one of them. Do you know like when you go and see like jazz guitarists, and anyone who's not a guitarist is like, what is this? But people are like, oh, the technique. It's like that. The more menus, the more like little percentages. Oh, yeah.
You love all that.
I know that's my heart and soul is in that. All that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But in the time being, I don't know. Just give me that Harry Potter game, innit? That new one.
See, I'm split. It's that hard thing for me with Harry Potter because of this whole J.K. Rowling thing. I keep talking about it. I love Harry Potter. My fiance is the biggest Harry Potter head. Yeah. I think that's what they're called. Potterhead out there. And I'm like, I'm sitting there. I'm like, all right, I need to like do the research because especially with Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. If that was a if that was someone that was racist towards black people, I reckon we would all get behind it way better than we are for the trans community. So I've got trans friends, and I'm like, I need to figure out. There's like a lot of research, but then it comes to that other question of it's my job to cover that game. So for my job, it's dude, we ain't even got time to get into it, but it's so hard. It's so hard.
It's not just a game. It's like a course.
Yeah,
so you've really got to work around it. But yeah, I'm interested to see what they did. Like I remember it leaking like 3 years ago. Yeah, and it seemed really interesting. But that could be
the looks of it. Looks amazing. Like everything I've seen of it though so far, I'm like, this is kind of the Harry Potter game I've always wanted. And it's like,
but you've got to hold back. No, I'm 100% with you.
You know, it's hard. It's hard. But you look again, like I always say on the podcast, which is talk with your wallet. You have to speak with your wallet when it comes to anything that you stand by, you believe in, things like that. You have to speak with your wallet. So it's going to be an interesting year when that comes out, and to see who does and who doesn't and how it all plays out. Just we can leave it there, but it's going to be interesting.
From my day job, PR perspective, it's it's going to be everyone's going to be writing notes. How everybody handles it.
How do you handle this? Exactly. Well, we've got questions. Let me jump into some of them, shall we? Will Power says, stealing this one from another IGN podcast, but it was a good one. Now, over a month into owning the Xbox Series X, you've got the S, what is the best thing about the system, and what is the most disappointing thing? Do you have anything on this that you reckon you can touch on? I've got a few, so I can let you think first. My top one is my main thing that I love is quick resume. Quick resume to me is, I've said it time and time again, which is it's a feature that we can't do on a PC. You can't just switch between games that fast on a PC. Doesn't matter. Well, at least my PC, you can't. Like, it just doesn't work like that, right? So that, to me, being able to jump in and out of games so seamlessly and so slick and so quick is my number one feature on the Series X. What's it like on the S? Does it work?
Yeah, it's there and it works, and especially when you're playing games like Katana Zero that take up like no processing power, you know. But I've had hands on with the One X, yeah, and the Series S and the Series X, right? And I've played the same game on all of them, and the game was Battlefield 5.
Oh, okay.
And what the Series X does to that in terms of like power is actually unreal. Like, the one thing that really threw me off, like with these next gen consoles and all this and all that the Series X does it in abundance, is its frame rate. Like, it really is super. Like, you don't. It's like, it's kind of annoying because you don't really notice it at the time when you're there. You only notice it when you go and go back.
Reviewing these consoles was so hard for me because I was like constantly going from my Xbox One X to my Xbox Series X and trying to like, okay, this does this better, because they're not. It's going to sound like a stupid thing to say, but they're not noticeable things in terms of like new dashboard and new this and new that and glitz and glam and stuff like that. It's like stable frame rates and better resolution. And if you don't have the tools to test those things like Digital Foundry do in their way of doing things, it's very hard to then express that in your review. So
when you go from playing your friend's Series X to going back to your Series S,
you notice
it. And unfortunately, it's in a bad way.
I told my co-host Crash, I said to him, do not get a Series S, whatever you do. Yeah, but I don't need it. I don't need it. Dude, I don't need a disk drive. I'm like, dude, trust me. Now he's got less hard drive space. So, and the frame, he's like, he wanted ray tracing on Devil May Cry 5, and it's not on there on the Series S, it's only there on the X. And I'm like, dude, you're in trouble.
It's, you know, the best thing about it, though, it's definitely a smart regime. That mixed with, like, if you're, you know, privileged enough to have two Xboxes or anything in the family, like, what I love is just, so I've got, like, two kids, who are normally taking over the telly, and I go into my bedroom and play Dragon Age, and then I can go downstairs, quick resume my Dragon Age, but it'll boot me back to the menu because cloud means that I can carry on playing, and that is like absolutely the best thing that the infrastructure there can do. So I love that, and I guess the smart resume thing is just like, or quick resume is like super useful no matter which one you've got. I guess that's not really specific to
I know what you mean.
Question,
I know, but what about disappointment? So for me, my biggest disappointment still to this day is the fact that we got the exact same dashboard. I know people have the answer. People always say that, okay, but at least we know where everything is and it's not hidden in menus and blah, 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 blah. They don't have to fix things. It's like, but it doesn't. Every time I love my Series X more than anything in the world other than my fiance. But every time I turn it on, it doesn't feel new. Again, I understand raw power, frame rates, quick resume, stuff like that. But just looking at that same dashboard compared to looking at my PS5, when I turn it on, I'm like, oh, this is different. That's not different. It sounds stupid. It just is that.
And I know what you mean. It's kind of like, like if you get a brand new phone, you know, whenever Apple normally will push a new iOS with the new hardware, so you get that pizzazz.
That's what people always say though. Oh, Apple's never changed. It's like, but there's usually little changes, and Xbox's little changes are moving backgrounds, and I'm like, that's not enough for me. Okay, I need more.
You're totally right. The PS5 has got this like really cool looking thing, but it does come with its problems. Like, it's an absolute nightmare. Like, you download a PS5 and a PS4 game, and there's no smart delivery.
I've seen all that.
It's just such a mess. Like, especially if you got one before launch, before they even patched it, it's like a mess. So but you're right. I guess though, like I just said, when you're going from downstairs to upstairs, I'm going from my 1S to my Series S, everything's seamless because there's no difference. So I can see it both ways again. But I guess that is I guess that's pretty disappointing. And also, do you know what else is a bit disappointing, right? Can you filter games by ones that have had big performance boosts?
Yes, you can. They put it in an update. So you can now do it through optimize for X and S. Yeah, and if you go into your filters,
Right.
it's there now. It wasn't
Cool.
always there, but
Yeah.
it is there now. And they've even got
Because
logos on each of the games
ah,
now, which
yeah,
has like an
awesome.
S, or it might just say optimized actually. But yeah, they do have that now, thankfully. But they didn't at the
Yeah.
start. So
Yeah, because again, you want to test out all the ones that are going to make the console shine, and so. But yeah, at least they're fixing stuff super fast. Like,
exactly, I think that's something you got to give credit to Xbox for, right? Is
yeah,
they move pretty quickly and they usually know what's wrong before they even put it out, which we all understand. Sometimes you have to put out things before they're ready. So it's having that fix there instantaneously once it's ready, which is nice. We got one more. We got another question coming. Says from the RPG Gamer, who says, "What indie game are you excited for next year?" Meaning this year. If you've got one that sticks out.
well, I mean, yeah, I'm trying. I do, but it's actually related to my job, so I'm not going to say it. Because,
What? Look,
well,
what is it though?
I'll tell you if you want.
Yeah.
It's, so PC Gamer,
Yeah.
#1 game of all time ever made in the history of PCs is Disco Elysium.
Yep.
It's the best rated RPG.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's quite simply the best RPG ever made for people who like role-playing games. Like,
yeah.
on paper.
Yeah.
And we're bringing it to the Xbox this year.
Nice.
So it's going to be really exciting to see how people react to that, because it's something that, like, because I've been doing PR for it, loads of people keep asking.
Yeah.
One of the console ports, and we announced at the Game Awards finally that it'll be coming, this year. So there's that, but there's like a bunch of other indie games that I'm looking forward to. One that I think due out this year is it's called Witchbrook. It's a Chucklefish game, and it's the people who are kind of responsible for Stardew Valley.
Yeah,
and it's that style thing, but set in a magic school. So
Harry Potter Stardew.
So it's like Harry Potter Stardew.
Oh!
The art for it looks crazy, and it's got all of that like Fire Emblem Persona kind of like social sim side of it, but with the magic. So that game has been in the works for a fair few years now. I think about 4 or 5 years. It must be coming to the end of the development cycle, I reckon, and therefore it must be pretty close to release. But I think that stands out just because when you look at, if you just search Witchbrook, right, you'll see the art style, and it's crazy good. And Stardew, I don't know, I think it had some update or something recently.
It did, yeah. It just came.
Beaches.
It's not on console yet. I think it comes in console soon, hopefully. But yeah, the fact that game's still being updated is nuts.
This is what I mean. Yeah, and people still streaming it like it's brand new, and it's been out for 4 years. It's just crazy. And one guy's doing it all. That's just the crazy thing.
I know.
So I guess I got to shout out Witchbrook.
Okay. Mine, I've got 2. One is 12 Minutes, which is the game they showed at the Xbox conference in 2018, I believe.
Yeah.
Which was like the different scenarios happening in the same timeline. You replay it through, and I can't wait for that game. That's such a me game, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, to see all those scenarios, to see how that story plays out, to see how they manipulate time, like that to me is up there. And as someone who doesn't get to play many indie games, I'm really looking forward to Tunic as well, which is the Zelda fox looking thing that was shown as well a long time ago now on the Xbox stage. And I don't know if that's coming to Game Pass or not. I'm not sure, but if it does, I think that will help it a lot, because I think it might have fallen out of people's minds a little bit more than maybe it should have. But yeah.
Yeah. That's a really beautiful art style, low poly, proper old school Zelda looking. It's really cool. 12 minutes though that's going to be insane. And if you're into I don't want to go off topic or anything, but if you're into film and stuff, it's I think they got Willem Dafoe, the OG Green Goblin. They got James McAvoy, right?
There's a lot of good talent in there. A lot of good talent.
And Annapurna Interactive makes some of the biggest bangers in indie game scene. They did the What Remains of Edith Finch, which is one of the coolest games ever. Right?
It's one of those ones where I wonder if it was, once they showed it and they got the response, that they went back to the drawing boards this could be even bigger, and here's a bit more money, and here let's build this out a little bit more than what it currently was. Maybe not. I'm talking definitely shooting from the hip there, but I could definitely see it.
Yeah.
I could definitely see it. Same with what happened with Cuphead, really, where they started putting more money into that once the response was so big they couldn't help it.
You know what?
Right?
Yeah, speaking of indie games, you almost don't think it's an indie game, but I tell you what, actually, I can tell you the most exciting indie game for me. It's not neither of them. Forget them.
Forget those games. Forget they're rubbish. They're rubbish. Gone. No way. They're out of it.
It's definitely Hollow Knight, Silk Song.
Oh.
Definitely. Hollow Knight is just like a modern masterpiece. Instant classic, is great. It's on Game Pass as well. Actually,
it is, yeah.
Not played it.
Game Pass PC too.
Yeah, it's incredible. And the thing about this one is it's completely independent still. No publisher. They're doing the game themselves. Everything is completely DIY.
They're going to be so rich.
They're going to be so rich. Yeah, dude, they're going to be so rich. I saw they're on the front cover of gaming magazines in the shops. Edge, one of the most prestigious magazines. They're in front. So yeah, Hollow Knight 2 is going to absolutely slam if you're into that sort of thing, I think.
Yeah. What is one game? This one's from Scott White. What is one previous gen game that you would like to see added to the backwards compatibility list? Do you play many backwards compat games? I'm one of these people of old games old. I'm unfortunately, just because of the nature of my job, again being a streamer or a content creator, you don't really get much time to look backwards very often.
No. Yeah, it's a bit of a treadmill, right? You know, as you're definitely right. And like, I think, yeah, like to be honest, I'm like that as well. I've got that mentality. Like, it's only over this Christmas period that I go back and look at games. So to tell you the God's honest truth, yeah, I don't think I could tell you some of the games on that backwards compatible.
Simpsons Hit and Run's the one that needs to be added, just so we're all aware.
Right, is that it?
That's the one. That doesn't matter about any single other one that you're even thinking. Doesn't matter.
Is that second Viva Pinata on there? Is it only the first Viva Pinata?
Oh, I don't know. I know first one is. I don't know if the second one is.
Chuck the second one in there for good measure.
Okay.
And, I'll also take all the Fight Nights.
Yeah, dude. What's your favorite Fight Night?
I don't know. Second one's pretty good, I think.
No, Champion, dude. Fight Night Champion. That's story mode. That's on there. Yes, that is on there. But Champion and the story mode in Champion is fantastic. Still to this day, fantastic.
Champion's amazing, and like, yeah, I love them, and I love the skate game. So I was happy that they had the Champion and skate and stuff. So yeah, but to tell you the real truth, I'm not even that well versed on what's on there or not, because, like you say,
me either.
And the truth is, like, the joy of having an Xbox and a PC is that because of the PC, you can it'll be on Steam or GOG or whatever, and so I just normally plug my Xbox controller into my PC and I'll play it that way, because backwards compatibility is amazing if you've got a big collection of physical games, right? Yeah. But I think Knights of the Old Republic 2 is one of the only physical Xbox games I've got from back in the day, you know.
No,
have you played that?
Have I played it? No, I'm not a Star Wars guy. The only Star Wars game I played is, do you remember Star Wars Jedi Power Battles on the PS1?
Yeah. Yeah, man.
That was my ish. That was it.
But Knights of the Old Republic is basically Mass Effect before.
No, I know people love it. Dude,
it's so good.
Literally, I'm in Zoom calls at the moment every week. People always talk about this game, and I'm like, dude, I'm bored. Just talk about something else. If it's not Jar Jar Binks, I just don't care. If we're being, that's not me memeing. I generally don't care. Like, give me a Jar Jar Binks TV show. Give me a Jar Jar Binks game. Then maybe I'll care. Okay. Until then, I don't care. Like, it's not important.
All right, well, I was going to put that on there just in case, but we'll take it off.
Yeah,
right?
get off. Get off. I think it's on there. It's already on there. I think it's already on there, actually.
You're all right. Okay. Yeah. Well,
you're all right. You're right.
Sorry, I can't answer the question.
Rubbish. Get out of here. Coming in with 10 seconds of notice and not doing your research on the questions. How dare you, sir? How dare you? I've got. So I tweeted out, doing my Xbox and me solo. What's your most disappointing game this year? Nah, you haven't got to say, because again, you do you. But we got a few people's answers. Patrick says Madden 21. Luke Slayer says Cyberpunk, but not for the reasons you think. Not the bugs, not the corporate nonsense. The game itself has so many issues, such as lack of AI, open world activities, lack of the depth. The police system in the open world is just broken. He has so many, and I totally agree with him on that one. Totally agree with him. A few other people are in here saying, Willpower says, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. These games have gotten so far away from stealth and what AC used to be. Very disappointing. The combat mechanics were trash and it had too many things to keep track of. Main story was decent, but didn't immerse me, which is a shame. I'm looking forward to going and play it.
Yeah. I had to go with it.
Do you have one game? Do you have one game that it doesn't? It's not. I said this when I put this tweet out, which is like, it's not about the game being trash. It's not about the game being terrible. It's not that for me. A game being disappointed. My number one disappointed game this year is Resident Evil 3. I love the Resident Evil series more than anything out there. But Resident Evil 3 still going to make my top 10 list because it's a Resident Evil game, number one. And it's a pretty Resident Evil game and does some things good. But it's still my biggest disappointment this year. Something that disappoints you doesn't mean it's necessarily just absolute garbage.
Wow. No. I know what you mean. Resident Evil 3 is the same for me in a way. I mean, well, let's get this out of the way. The Last of Us 2 is the most disappointing game of the year.
Wow.
It's on PlayStation.
Yeah.
But it's trash, in my opinion. It's not even good.
Oh my God.
So let's just get out of the way.
Okay.
It's absolute nonsense. Do you know what? Yeah, let me just say this. Who does this? I got an email, from PlayStation a couple of days before. It was like some mailing list crap. Naughty Dog telling me how emotionally destroyed I will be when I have to kill some sort of dog in the game.
Okay.
What's that? Why are they doing that? Why are they coming into my inbox telling me about how I'm going to feel bad and want to call the RSPCA before I play the game? First of all, that's not even good advertising. Second of all, don't tell me how I'm going to feel about killing the dog because it just made me switch it off in my head. And then I was Molotov.
What about if you enjoy killing dogs? I don't personally. It did make me quite emotional, but I'm glad I didn't get that message.
But the game kept doing it. The game kept trying to make me feel sad. And when I was aware of what it was trying to do.
Okay.
So anyway, forget about Last of Us 2. It's dead to me.
Okay.
The Resident Evil 3, though, I know what you mean. Because Resident Evil 2.
Fantastic.
Was so.
My favorite game of all time.
Out of nowhere, right? It was brilliant.
Out of nowhere's a bit of a stretch. Because let me tell you, I've knew about the game coming for a long, long time. Let me tell you. So,
right, but did you really think it was going to be as good as it was?
Resident Evil 2 OG is my favorite game of all time. Yeah. So yes, I knew it was going to be that good. I knew in my bones.
Even more
I knew. No, I didn't. I knew, dude. I went to Comic-Con one year and they showed it. Couldn't play it, just showed it. And I was like, wow, this looks amazing. I remember talking to one of the PR people, Neil, who now works at Bethesda. And being like, dude, is this game gonna be? And he was like, this game's gonna, and I was like, all right, I'm in. I trust you. Wow. I trust you. And from that moment, I knew.
To me, I remember seeing it so it got shown off at E3 or whatnot, and it was just something, the Raccoon City Police Department, some random corridor, and I was like, the lighting's not gonna look like that. The zombies aren't gonna move like that. This is like it's been pre-rendered. It's not gonna be this good.
And it was that good.
And it wasn't it? This is what I mean. I love Resident Evil. I love the old tank control ones.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and it's a real shame that Capcom got owned and hacked, and all of their info.
I haven't seen none of it. Don't say a word, or you're dead to me. I tell you, you're dead to me.
I gotta tell you,
I didn't look at any of it. I see it all, and again, I won't even report on it. Usually, that's me. I see that, I'm jumping on it, I'm reporting on it, because Resident Evil content on my channel booms as well, does really well.
Exactly.
But I was like, I can't ruin Resident Evil Village for myself. I can't. I need to just.
This is what I'm on about. That's what I'm just about to say. Like I'm so sad for them because what it is, and I don't know how many nerves I'm going to touch here.
Don't say
Resident
anything.
Evil fell off so hard at Resident Evil 6.
Of course.
I was like,
oh, come on.
Is this series? Is it doing a Silent Hill?
Resident Evil fell off at Resident Evil 5. People just liked the co-op in 5 where they didn't in 6. Resident Evil 5 is not a good game.
Right, you've got me there. I have fond memories of Resi 5, but it's only because I was playing it on 360 with my mate.
I was about to say, who'd you play with? I guarantee it's because you and a friend were playing a Resident Evil game for the first time in co-op, and that was like, oh my god, I remember it too. I remember fighting Jill and being like, oh my god, this is dope. You grab her, I can't grab her. Here's the flashbang. Oh my god, and then you step back, and you go, wait a minute, this wasn't a Resident Evil game. What was this?
Exactly. And then 6, which is like,
dude, we don't talk about 6. We don't talk about 6.
so for 7, and then they announced 7, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's first person."
Yep, I hated it.
You can't kill. loved it. I thought it was going to be trash.
Yeah.
And I played it and I loved it. But then I thought Resident Evil 2 remake. No. 7 was so good. Just do an 8. Forget 2. No one cares about remakes. It blew my mind. And then 3, maybe because I've set the bar that high.
That's
in my
the
head,
problem.
It came out and I was like, that was good for 5 hours.
But you know what the problem is with 3 is because 3 is the offshoot game. Code Veronica is actually Resident Evil 3.
Yeah.
So that's if you there's a video on Did You Know, which there was a contract dispute between PlayStation and Capcom, and they had to put out a numbered Resident Evil game. So Code Veronica became the offshoot game where Resident Evil 3 Nemesis became. It was just meant to be called Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. That's it. No title. They could have retconned all this. Yeah. They could have fixed it all, and they ruined it. They ruined it.
Yeah, that's true, you know, because Resi 3, when you think about how much of it seems like a bit of a rush.
I'm a nerd
for a lot of it, and
Resi nerd, bro. I know it all.
That's that. I actually didn't know that about you either. Can't say.
Yeah,
I didn't know about that. But Code Veronica, it is like, and everyone that's like in most people's lists of like most overlooked games. It doesn't get the love it deserves and whatever.
It's ridiculous.
Because I think, and then do you know what the problem is with it? It's a victim of circumstance, isn't it? Because Resident Evil 4 came out.
Yep, killed it. Just
no fault of Code Veronica's was just the best thing ever. So
again, I'm a Resident Evil 4 hater, unfortunately. I love Resident Evil 4, but it's also the worst thing that ever happened to Resident Evil. Period. Because if you look at what came afterwards, it ruined Resident Evil.
Yeah.
4 is a great game. What 4 did for the games industry as well. Bar none. Yeah, It changed the game, literally. But for what it did to my franchise, the franchise that I love the most, it kind of killed it. So it was
best
upsetting.
Resident Evil game. The best Resident Evil game after Resident Evil 4 was Dead Space. Yeah, play it and you'll see.
I played Dead Space 1. I played it.
Yeah,
it's not as good as everyone thinks.
No. Maybe it's because I'm in a honeymoon period of it, innit? I played it and I was like,
I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the beginning of it, and then it sort of started dragging for me a little bit where I was like, this is really good. I'd love a remake. I think a remake of Dead Space would be ridiculous.
Oh, they announced that thing, didn't they? They announced that the same team, the same people are making a new game in space, survival horror.
Yeah, we gotta wait.
But here's the weird twist. This is the twist that no one cares about. It's set in the PUBG universe.
I do remember that. Yeah.
The Callisto Project, it's called. It was announced at the Game Awards.
Yeah.
What the hell's that got to do with PUBG? It's like set in a colony on Mars or something, hundreds of years after PUBG. How are they going to tie that into that guy with the frying pan and hat and that?
The guy with the frying pan.
You know what I mean? How are they going to tie that in?
I do. No, you're right.
So Resident Evil 3 most disappointing game of the year.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
It's my most disappointing game, definitely. Yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame, but that's life.
I like that added dodge mechanic or whatever. But actually, no, wasn't that in the?
It was in the original. There was a dodge mechanic. They did, like I say, what is there in Resident Evil 3 is actually pretty good. It's all the parts that are missing: the worm boss fight, the clock tower. There's so much missing from Resident Evil 3 that I'm like, where's the rest of the game? You sold me a $60 game with Resistance that nobody asked for.
Yeah. What happened to that? Did that even happen?
It's still there. It's still going. People play it. Some people, not me. But yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, and for the 10 of them listening, thanks.
Hey,
you know, but yeah, yeah. Oh, I honestly didn't know if that even shipped.
Oh yeah, it came out day and date. No, day and date it came out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Resident Evil 3. I'll join you on that. I think because I wanted it to be a bit more of a splash. You know,
it needed more. Dude, I've kept you long enough. Let's plug, and get ourselves out of here. What you got to plug this week? Where can people find you?
Sure. Well, I'm on Twitter at the only Jake ever. It's easy
a great
to remember
name
me because there is no other Jakes on the planet. Yeah, exactly. And then you can also find me at Best Game Cast or bestgameever.org. Unfortunately, I couldn't get .com, so my people are speaking to their people. But yeah, the new podcast launches in a couple of weeks, and it'd be really nice to do something new. I think so. Yeah, you can find me there, Twitter, and more Twitter.
More Twitter, and more Twitter. Don't forget, you can find me everywhere at MC Fixer. We're pushing Patreon hard this year, trying to become self-sufficient and not rely on companies like Twitch or YouTube and things like that, because They can change the game on us and we have no decision. So we're trying to become self-sufficient. Patreon.com/MCFix. So try to hit that 100 goal. If you can spare $2, please do. It's a cup of coffee, you know? And then maybe it'd be more than your cup of coffee if we're being totally honest. Other than that, Crash will be back next week. We're going to do Game of the Year talk. What will be number one? Find out next week. And Jake, thank you so much for coming in and saving the day, dude. Appreciate it.
No, absolutely my pleasure. Seriously.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's been awesome.
Dope. Until next time, I will love you, leave you, and see you all later. Goodbye.